Scope, a podcast with two guys in their 20s giving their perspective on the games that we love and the story behind it all. I'm your host, Wellington Burns, along with my counterpart, Savon Morris. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. Sorry for my tardiness.
No
But
problems at all. But to start it off tonight, with this past weekend, the Lakers and the Pelicans, they make the blockbuster trade that um, was felt as though it could happen with increasingly more with the fourth pick that the Lakers got, and Anthony Davis is headed to Los Angeles, and and the Pelicans they'll get Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, three first round picks. Um, I believe that they also got the right to the fourth pick and traded that to Atlanta this tonight. And so the Pelicans, they're almost like the new Celtics in terms of all the draft assets that they have and the future of what they can do with these assets. And obviously with the Lakers, they are instant. Um, they're projected in instant title contention. They suck to fill out the roster because the roster is super thin with how much they gave up. And now
yeah,
you have two of the five best players in the league with LeBron and Anthony Davis. But what were your thoughts on the trade overall? Because I remember you were talking about you felt as though the Lakers, even though they got, I mean, one of the five best players in the league, they still gave up a lot.
yeah, they definitely gave up a lot. What four draft picks? One is a first round pick this year, right? And then you give up Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball. You give up Josh Hart. But I think you look at those. Lonzo was hurt. He has an ankle injury. We don't know if he's going to be 100%, how he will transition to the Pelicans. Brandon Ingram had a blood clot. So they got Josh Hart, didn't pan out as well as they thought he was going to be. Maybe he goes off and go crazy for Pelicans. But I like the
We see the better
alertness.
version of these guys in New Orleans.
Hopefully, because not saying they couldn't flourish under LeBron. I think the system changed. They're still young guys, so maybe if they have another younger core, maybe a change of scenery helps that. We've seen that with D'Angelo Russell when he left Lakers. He came and went off, and everyone was like, okay, that's the Russell we've seen for previous years. But I like the alertness of the Lakers because we they kept saying, "Oh, it's patience, it's patience." We have Tom, we have Tom. That's when Magic Johnson was had the reins, and now that he's gone, they have a sense of urgency. Okay, we know our window is closing, so let's get the players that we need to get so we can be a championship contender team. I think they did that, but I think they still gave up a lot, especially future tense. They're not trying to build for the future; they build for the moment. I think that's why Pelicans won that trade most definitely because they're building for the future, not for the moment.
Thing is, it's like with a trade like that, you can look at okay the team that won the future won the trade or the team that got the best player won the trade. But I feel as though with what the Pelicans got, they're going to be set up for the future a lot better, obviously. And
Mm-hmm.
with the Lakers, it's like it's win or bust, pretty much. Like if they don't
But yeah,
if they don't get to the finals in the next at least one of the next 2 years, it would be the trade would be considered a lot differently because they're going all in. Like obviously they don't want to waste LeBron's prime years. I
right.
mean, not even prime years, latter years of his prime, as he's like
Yeah,
nearing 35 this year and could possibly be in a shift. Even though I think this year he's going to be a clear MVP caliber candidate with him having this much rest and time to recharge. But in terms of the Lakers and what they could possibly do next, is because that's the biggest thing. Like they could either go after another max player like Kemba or
hmm
Kyrie, or they could just try to fill out the roster, get like Patrick Beverly, Danny Green, Seth Curry,
hmm
um, Marcus Morris, guys like that, and just try to fill out this roster and build around LeBron and AD? Like which path do you think they should take? Go after the another max player and kind of complete the super team, or just try to build around LeBron and AD?
I think if you're going to live in the moment, you have to go get a player that you know who will maximize effort in the moment. I think they have to go after Kawhi Leonard. I know he just won the NBA championship with Toronto Raptors, but you have to do everything in your power and whatever's necessary to try to get Kawhi Leonard there because him and AD on the defensive side, yo, that tenor right there is going to be crazy, and LeBron James is too because
Want to go?
right, but you still make an effort for it. You still. The worst thing someone say is no. I still think Kawhi is not 100% in with Toronto. There's a couple things I learned from Kawhi Leonard being the number one guy on a basketball team. He's reluctant to take games over, and I've seen that through this series and the series before. He doesn't want to take the big shot. Especially the series in the
Was he
Warriors.
just gassed?
I don't think it was gas. I think that mentality, he tried to have that mentality a couple of times, but it didn't pan out. That's why the ball was dished to Kyle Lowry to shoot in it was dished to Van Fleet, then it was dished to Kyle Lowry to try to win it. I think that was game 5. And it was a couple
Where
games
they double
before
teamed him?
that. Well, if I've seen guys double, triple team and still make that shot, it's that mentality I'm trying to get out. I don't think he's that type of guy because some even the third and fourth quarter, when his time should have came to give me the ball, he only did that twice. He did it twice.
When he scored 12 straight in Game 5, that was like the stretch for him. That was the stretch where it was kind of different, and he just like fully like tried to take over. But for most of the series,
he did not. He did not. And if you have to really look at it, because 12 points, that game he took over, and that's why the outcome was like that. Game 6, he did not take over. Game 4, he did not take over. He had big points, but he didn't take over the game. See, I'm kind of seeing that
really
more and more.
in Game 1, Siakam was the go-to guy, and in the closeout game, Siakam was the go-to guy.
Because he's not that takeover type guy. I think LeBron did in the year they won when they came back from 3-1. I think it was 2016. He showed me he had an ability to be the takeover guy and finish games for them. But now I see Kawhi. Kawhi has never had the opportunity to be the takeover guy until he went to the Toronto Raptors. Now you won a championship. Woo! Yay! Whoop-de-doo! Now can you do it all over again? So with that lineup and the draft and everything, people adding more players, I don't think they go back to the NBA Finals. Go to a team where will definitely go to the NBA Finals, and that's what the
him in his prime, they could contend like a while in the East. I'm not saying that they would win again, but I think they would be in that top tier of the East because we all expect Milwaukee to get better and Philly should get better too. It's going to be tougher, but like just imagine if Kawhi stays in Toronto. I mean, the odds say that he's probably still going to leave. Even with what happened, it's just that's not the place he wanted to be at.
You
know what I mean? Because we originally last year, like it just always was this thing, and even throughout the year, multiple Clippers executives went to Toronto like many Toronto home games, scouting, and still trying to kind of like have that sales pitch, and it's always felt as though, okay, no matter what happens, because Toronto, they did what they had to do, like go all in on this in trading for a guy like this. But it still felt as though, okay, like LA's it's just that destination he wants to be at, and that's kind of been the biggest concern.
Well, win, lose, or draw. I mean, they did get an NBA Finals from it. But like you said, if he really wanted to stay, I think that deal, or he would have said something like what Paul George did, because I think it was like maybe 2-3 weeks after everything kind of settled down. He was at the party. He was like, "Look, I ain't going nowhere." So I don't think it's going to be a similar situation. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it'll be a similar situation. But if they don't get Kawhi Leonard, then I don't think Jimmy will fit there. I think Kyrie will probably fit the most because he already has the chemistry with LeBron.
And there was the report about with Brooklyn that they may be hesitant to sign Kyrie if KD doesn't come as well, which doesn't seem
won't happen. I think KD will throw a curveball and stay with Golden State. I think that will happen.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, throw a curveball, stay with KD because of the injury and because of the injury of Klay Thompson. I think that will have a deciding factor for both of those guys staying with Golden State. Um, but yeah, if that's not the case, you still have a bunch of guys that you can be supporting Cavs. Go get back Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Look to add Al Horford. I know he's has a big contract, but see if you can get him on a 2-year, 2-3 deal and at a cheaper price. He's up for grabs. It's a bunch of young guys like you said. Marcus Morris is
Celtics to the
another.
Lakers.
Yeah, look, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot of options if they don't get Kawhi Leonard. Kimba's not going anywhere. He wants to stay with Michael
Yeah,
Jordan.
I don't know. I feel as though the two, if they're gonna go after two, because I don't, I just I can't see Kawhi like being the third wheel on a super team. That's just not in his mo. Like if Kawhi leaves, I think he would go to the Clippers, and
I
if
mean,
you probably disagree.
he was kind of a third wheel, and it's like adolescence years with the Spurs when they had
Oh yeah,
Tim
but that was
Duncan
like
and
he
Ginobili,
was the
Tony
projected future,
Parker.
yeah, projected future face for that franchise.
But like I said, man, with LeBron on the team, he's definitely going to play the point. So LeBron doesn't have to shoot. He doesn't want to shoot half of the time. If he has Kawhi and AD, he's going to be dishing in 75% of the time, unless he needs to, unless he has
Is
to.
AD? Do you think like when it's all said and done, AD may end up being the best teammate LeBron's ever had?
Nah, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
Even though
because I
Dwayne
saw that too. People were like prime Dwayne Wade was still his best
crazy.
teammate. People like
Even
yeah,
even though he left LeBron hanging a couple
the last few
series
years.
in the last years from injuries, understandable. Especially the Spurs when LeBron caught that cramp in the first game, he had to come out. He caught like two
Yeah,
cramps in both the
for the
legs.
2014
That could
finals.
tell that could tell you a lot about him trying to salvage everything. And then
Right.
they ended up losing that series. Chris Bosh was still there, but not having Dwayne Wade on both the front court and back court, you could tell the difference. But I think Dwayne Wade is definitely his best teammate ever. It's besides his friends from high school. NBA wise is Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. I mean, but talent wise, I mean, AD is he's never played with a guy like AD before. I mean, a center like this, it's gonna be it's gonna be an
Yeah.
amazing pick and roll partner because
Yeah.
it's just like LeBron can. I mean, AD can do everything the modern big you possibly can think of. It's
True.
just yeah.
He can spread it out. Yeah, he can do a lot of stuff. I mean, he's seen it before, not as because we forget how talented Chris Bosh was
Oh yeah, for sure.
before he came to Miami and became just one of the pick and roll guys and just a big that's in the paint.
I mean, Toronto Bosch was a
Yeah,
monster.
Toronto Bosh was the first year Bosh with Miami was still stick. But then the years after that, he had those injuries. He was went through the injuries, and they kind of changed his game a little bit to fit Dwayne Wade's and LeBron's. So it was kind of like we didn't see the full capability of Chris Bosh, but we've seen it with the Toronto Raptors. That's what I say. He's seen it before, but in more of a different role because he was number three. It was LeBron, Dwayne Wade, then Chris Bosh. So with them, it'd be LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
So it wanted that his role wouldn't diminish as quickly as Chris Bosh did. His role, as soon as he saw that contract, yeah,
He
you're gonna
knew.
pick a
Yep.
role and play
My
defense.
role's gonna
That's it.
diminish like in year two.
Never knew that was coming, but he got big money, so
Yeah.
it kind of made up for it.
So if if they strike out on Kawhi and they don't get him, um, the next guy you think they'd go after would be Kyrie.
I think so, just
Yeah.
because of the chemistry, and then
It's feeling
I
like it
just,
can
just
happen. It's feeling like their union can happen, Savon.
yeah, I just don't think they go after Jimmy or Tobias Harris. I don't think they
Yeah,
go
the
after
Rockets
either.
are now going after Jimmy.
Yeah, because of the Chris Paul
That's a whole
situation.
other story.
Yeah, and then I mean, well, D'Angelo Russell is restricted, so he can't really move unless Kyrie Irving goes to Brooklyn. But like you
What if
said,
Russell goes to the
Brooklyn went
Celtics?
Russell. He
Yeah,
can't move though. He's
that's
restricted.
true.
Yeah, so he has they have to let him go. for him to move. That's why when Kyrie was supposed to go to Brooklyn and maybe KD follow him, they was gonna get rid of D'Angelo Russell. But now
Oh
you
yeah,
have the
that
people, yeah.
backcourt wasn't gonna happen. It was never gonna happen.
But I think
That
you
was gonna be
still,
crowded.
yeah, you can still add another big time player, either Kyrie or Kawhi. Then you can definitely bring
Or
back
just build
Julius
around LeBron and
Randle.
AD.
They need one more player or a lot of shooters.
That's what I'm saying. Get Danny Green, get JJ Redick.
You
Get
think
Seth
Danny
Curry.
Green's gonna leave Kawhi?
No.
I think Danny Green isn't
Okay.
going
How
anywhere
about Seth
until
Curry
after.
and Danny Green
I
and
like
Marcus Morris?
Seth. I like Marcus Smart to go over there. But do they re-sign Lance Stevenson? Do they re-sign Rajon Rondo?
No.
Do they re-sign? No.
Get rid of these guys.
No.
Because
So
how
you get rid of
how
Lance
could you see the
Stevenson?
Rondo thing? No, I feel as though they'll keep Lance, but let Rondo go, because I think that they're going to bring in another guard, another like high level guard.
Well, if they get Kawhi, they won't bring another high.
No, I'm saying, well, my thing is, I feel as though they'll get Kyrie or Kemba.
Kemba, not Kemba. Probably the more logical and realistic will probably be Kyrie, especially when he just dropped his agent and he's reluctant to go to.
What does a
Brooklyn
big three
Nets
like that
now.
look like? Like if that does happen, Kyrie, LeBron, AD look like, how would you?
It's a Cavs 2. I think it's a Cavs 4.0 because
I would say 4.0.
Kevin Love didn't live up to the hype because before he went to the Cavs, he was 40-20 like DeMarcus Cousins.
Minnesota Kevin Love.
My God, he was heavier, and then you would think when he got smaller, he was the straight UCLA come punch. I'm going to shoot your lights out, and I'm going to rebound all over you. We did not see that. See the diminishing of the role. We did not see that, Kevin Love. That's crazy.
It is.
That's crazy. We did not see that coming. That's why it was so hyped when LeBron came back. It was like, Kevin Love? Really hit Kevin Love too?
Oh, you're going to get the slim version of Kevin Love.
Yeah, you're going to get slim.
GQ.
I hate to say this. Depressed Kevin Love, who his mind was not on the game whatsoever.
Right. I mean, he was going through battles.
We got he had a distant Kevin Love that was not on top of his game at all. Then you had an injury Kevin Love as well. So,
like the last year, like LeBron was there, I don't even really remember Kevin Love that much. I mean, like in terms of like the supporting cast, like once they brought in Rodney Hood, George Hill, like you expected Love to take that like second clear spot.
True.
But it kind of like vacillated. Like sometimes it would be because like after that point it just felt as though he could really ascend into like just the clear number 2 after Kyrie was gone.
True, but I think he was so deep into his outside basketball.
Off the court, it was understandable. Yeah.
It was kind of hard for him, but no, everybody expected him. Okay, since Kyrie's going, he has to step up. Nobody else can step up for him. So, but I totally agree.
Yeah,
but
that was the first half of that season. Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, Jay Crowder, all those guys were there.
That's crazy.
2 different teams.
2 different teams, and then the moves they made look like. We talked about that. I don't want to get into that, but just the moves they made wasn't enough for them to be a contender. LeBron James kind of pushed them through that entire playoffs, to be honest.
That run is just still, I think, one of the best LeBron runs, postseason runs.
He even didn't win. He didn't even win is one of his best. That's crazy.
The first game, the last thing I'm going to say, the first game of the finals, when he had 58-8, I mean, some of Golden State's people were saying, I mean, we've never seen a guy have like that type of performance against us full strength on the road. I mean, that was almost single-handedly won that game.
Win.
Yeah,
and had the opportunity to win because, and then the basketball IQ of his fellow teammates
just was not there.
Poor. It was not there at all. Oh, KD
Yeah.
was behind you. Yeah, I want to hear that. Throw it up. We'll give you a E for effort. If you would have blocked, you would have blocked it. But
Oh
you
yeah.
taking it back, yeah, not being aware, that's a whole other story, and that's already been written. So
Yeah. And with the Pelican, and before we move on with the Pelicans, they have they have Zion now, and
yeah,
the matchup. I mean, the pairing of him and Lonzo can be really special because Lonzo's a great playmaker. Obviously, there are health concerns, and can he develop a more consistent jump shot? But this could be a really, to me, like a really fun young team that maybe not wins a lot of games, but has the potential. Like this year could be kind of like um, shedding a light in terms of what they could do in the future. Like, what are your thoughts on the Pelicans where they're at now? Because they do have a lot of young talent.
I think, like you said, they're gonna be. It's gonna start off slow, just getting that chemistry with everybody and making sure
Yeah,
everybody's complete healthy. Even Zion, we have to make sure he's completely healthy before he jumps back out there. But eventually, when they find that rhythm between each other, rhythm as a team, their front court could be really really good. Lonzo has become a real good defender. I just sat one day and watched like 20 minutes of his film on just defending players, active hands,
and Drew could
smart.
be a
Yeah,
scary
Drew.
defensive backcourt
Now
if he
Julius
stays.
is gone. Yeah, if he stays, Julius is gone now. I'm just thinking about if we saw a different Brandon Ingram, we saw the potential that he can be one of those top guys, and then before, boom, he gets hurt, blood clot. So they have the potential, and whew, I don't know if they can. Will they put Zion at the 3 or the 2, move Brandon to the 3, and have Zion at the 2? Depending, I'm not even
You
sure.
put
And
Zion
who
at the
do
two.
I can see Zion at the 2, but the only thing about that is he has to grow his 3-point shot a little more this offseason in the summer league. That's something he has to focus on more than anything because he has everything
Summer
else,
league
but
game is going to be like packed like all the way to the outside of the.
oh yeah, most def. I think he'll bring that more excitement to the team, like when AD first got there, especially when DeMarcus first got there as well. But then who do you replace? How do you replace AD? That's what I've been wrapping around. Do you go get Brook Lopez? Do you try to go get Al Horford? Who do you replace him, AD with? Because they have some money left to get another big time player.
This is the player I think they could really go after, a really good rim protector, Clint Capella.
Hmm. But he's contracted. He'll have to get traded.
They'd have to trade him.
Yeah, they'll have to trade him. I don't think he will leave James. I think he likes playing with James Harden for some odd
Houston's
reason.
probably going to stay pat.
But that'd be a good move.
Protector now.
Al's not a bad move.
Yeah.
What about Mark? Well, Mark probably will stay because I think he'll have to resign whatever. I think he was traded. I think he had like 1 or 2 more years on his contract year. I'm thinking of other big men that can like. That's all I can think of. Al Horford, or you get Julius Randle. Well,
I'm
Julius
still thinking
Randle's
of Steven
leaving.
Adams.
Steven
Steven Adams
Adams.
possibly
Oh, he's not going nowhere. Well, in a trade, maybe.
in a
In a
trade.
trade, maybe. In a trade, because he's not going nowhere without. They'll probably need some players to get from him to get players, in that exchange. But it's not a big pool of big men that are available right now, except Al Horford and Brook Lopez. Well, yeah, that's something. But they're gonna have a hard time because they're gonna be real small. I think they still have Derek. What's his name? Derek Anderson. Oh, let me pull up their roster. Pelicans roster. Because I'm trying to see. I don't think they have that many big men the style as AD. You still what? You still there?
Yeah, I'm just waiting on the live update from Zion Morris about
Oh yeah, you were kind of like it was kind of like I couldn't hear you. I mean, they got Jaleel Okafor, but that's whatever. Yeah, they don't have another big man.
they're so thin at that position. I mean, they're not even thin. Like they just don't have they don't have anything there. It's not even like it's not even like they're thin at that. There's just like there's nothing there. We got to find somebody.
Have to find somebody ASAP because Julius Randle was the next big guy. He's gone.
You know what? Stayed there. I mean, they would have been.
I don't think he
That's
won. I don't think it was enough because guys get fed up for what up.
last year. It's interesting how some of these Laker players just start shining once they leave.
What about what about Dwight Howard, man, or Whiteside from Miami? Those are two guys that can.
Whiteside.
You said that what?
Like I feel as though Whiteside would be really good as a rim
Yeah,
protector for New Orleans.
for fast, they're going to be really
But that
fast.
would be interesting because I mean Howard can still be effective.
Yeah, he still has some because he actually played great this year, better than he normally did to pass 20,000 years. So he had a stint where he was really good with the Magic, and then he kind of like declined. Hello, I can
Hello,
hear you. Yeah,
can
I
you
can
hear me
hear you
now?
now.
Okay,
Yes,
still here. We are currently going through
transitioning.
the ebbs and flows of sound quality and
I like
um.
the wording, man. I like the wording.
Look, I
It's
just
perfect.
gotta just keep keep keep
Keep on
staying, keep
pushing
on keeping
on.
on. Exactly. Sometimes you have to say anything complex. You just have to say keep on keeping on.
Keep
You know,
on
just
keeping on. But
always try
they're
to
going to
find
be a
saying something complex.
fast transitional basketball team. That's they're going to be their bread and butter. Getting points off
I'm not
transition.
yeah, and I'm not saying they're gonna be a playoff team because I mean the West is so it's gonna be
Yeah,
so loaded. It's gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
tough for them to find it in because I think a team that didn't make it last year, the Sacramento Kings, they could possibly kind of make that jump. And it's the West is just going to be loaded. It's going to be. I mean, we say it every year, but this is the first year there's really not like a clear front runner. Like if you had to say like a who's the favorite to win the West next year, I wouldn't really even be able to give you an answer.
You can't now. Now that
Yeah,
KD and Clay is
and
hurt, you
play
can't
or
really
yeah,
say Golden State.
yeah.
Mm, everything is even now. Even with the addition with LeBron and AD, they still have to find some supporting roles and another
The
big time
next few
player.
weeks is gonna tell us so much about how next season plays out. For free
Yes.
agency is gonna be just bonkers this year.
We'll find out what Kawhi says. What did Kawhi say? Ding, 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 ding.
But I mean, and that's the thing. Like he really kind of holds the narrative for this summer. Like he's the
He
biggest
does.
because I mean KD can't play next year.
Nope.
It's gonna be like Kawhi is gonna be the center of free agency attention. And before we thought it was gonna be a two-horse race between him and KD, but it's solely Kawhi.
Yeah, because of the injury. Is Clay going to make a recovery from the ACL in time next year?
They're saying he could come back like right after All Star break or March.
Oh,
Um,
the same thing, similar to DeMarcus Cousins. Do the
like
Lakers?
just imagine like they could be a 6 seed and Clay comes back healthy and they're back in the mix. I
All right,
mean,
that could happen. I mean, they can hold off until then, but DeMarcus Cousins is not re-signing back with the Warriors. Can he really go next door? Well, not really next door. It's kind of like a block and a half up. Like, could he go to the Lakers, or does
and
he
him
go
and
back to the
how is the
Pelicans?
relationship with him and AD? Are they all get there?
I don't know, but he's not re-signing. He can
Yeah,
make the
it's not
return
happening
back to the
because the
Pelicans
Golden State
or
wants
go
to
to the.
offer Clay and KD the 5-year max. There's not going to
So
be
they
any
want.
room for Cousins if you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to get a big time deal. He can go replace Al
Honestly, he
Horford with
should just go
Celtics.
to yeah. That's exactly what I was about to say. Go to the East
Yeah, and then see because yeah,
there because I mean honestly, the Celtics and I guess you perfectly transition to Boston because
did I?
you know Kyrie, he's not going to. Obviously, it looks like he's poised to either go to Brooklyn or the Lakers, and now with Al Horford, was it him declining his player option
Yes.
yesterday? Yeah, he declined his player option, and is looking to get a 4-year deal elsewhere, and so now, and because if we go back in the time machine and talk and go on the Full Scope podcast last year, we were talking about how this could have been a 10-year run for Boston, like the East was theirs, and now fast forward to this year, they miss out on AD. Kyrie's leaving. Al Horford's probably is likely leaving. I mean, how the team is set up now, it's still going to be a good team because you still have Tatum, Brown, Smart, like you still have pieces there. Terry Rozier is probably leaving, but they can if you're building around Tatum and Brown, two bright young stars, they can still be a competitive team. But it's not like how the projection was supposed to go because this summer was supposed to be theirs for getting AD, and now it's completely changed. But like, what are your thoughts overall on just kind of the likely departure of Kyrie and Horford and kind of where Boston goes from here?
They build off the guy that they were going to build off regardless of Kyrie being there. They still have Hayward there. They still have Tatum. Rozier is
And
gone. They still
Hayward,
have
yeah.
Jaylen Brown. So they still have Marcus Smart for a defender. You just build around those guys. So now you need a big man because I don't think Al Horford, he was making what 20, 30 million already from the Celtics. I don't think he's denying his player option to get a max contract. I think he wants out of Boston because the younger guys probably because you can't lead a bunch of young guys who don't think they need leadership. They're their own leadership. So I think he wants out of
Horford could
Boston.
be going.
I mean, he could go to the Lakers. He could go to the Pelicans. He could go to another younger team that still has talent and can immediately be a contender now. I think I think Al Horford gets the type of praise that he should because he's a big part of that offense, regardless, and defense too. He kind of matched up well with Giannis for a couple games in that series, and then Giannis was like, okay, I got to become the Greek freak again. But I think he matched up well. He's still a good defender, so he still has a lot left in his tank because he's from Florida, baby. So he can go anywhere, to be honest. But I think his next destination is probably the Lakers or the Pelicans. Lakers or the Pelicans.
Lakers.
I think he fits well with the Lakers.
They do. Yeah, I mean he
If
does.
you can't get Kawhi, get him another guy who can shoot the 3-pointer from the free. He can spread them out. He can play good defense. He gets rebounds. Then add
Guy
another.
they get, are you satisfied?
You can't if you get Al Horford, you probably won't get Kyrie because of the money wise. But if you can't get Kawhi, then that's another option they could look for.
Horford to third
Or
guy.
he's going to be like the fifth guy. He's going to be the guy who plays good defense, get rebounds, and occasionally shoot the three when he's open. But now you build off Jason Tatum. I don't know if you're talking or not, Wellington. I can't hear you. No, it's like a distant like like a what's the thing you whisper into the microphone? I forgot one of those things are called the Asmir or whatever the thing is. I'm not sure, but yeah, I can't. It's like a whisper. No, it's still a whisper. Sorry, ladies and gents. We're having
Continue
technical.
on.
Yeah, there we go. We're welcome back. Yeah, so now you build off Jason Tatum, and then I think the lineup doesn't
A good
change
team.
as much. Yeah, I don't think the lineup changes as much because Jalen Brown can still play the three or the four. Tatum can play the two or the guard position. Rozier is out of there.
He's
Hayward,
not staying.
he's not. He doesn't want to stay. But now that, well, he's fed up because the interview he did with Stephen A was just like, yeah, I don't want to play there. They didn't use me well. I felt like I was tried, whatever. I don't want to stay. But now you build around Jason Tatum and see where that young talent takes you.
Yeah. I would definitely say that with Boston, they can, if they're like a 5 or 6 seed next year, like that would be a good season for them in terms of them still being competitive and still being relevant. Because if Hayward, like I feel like the biggest X factor, and I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but Hayward is, I mean, he's got to be Utah Hayward now. Like there's no other option.
Most def. I think you had a year to see where your knee was, to see what type of potential you still, well, not potential, what type of stuff you had left in the tank. I think you have some to contribute now. You don't have an excuse about lineup rotations. Kyrie's gone, Al Horford's gone, Rozier's gone. You got players that kind of stood in your way from rotational minutes. Now you come off and you show why you were paid the big bucks coming from Utah. No excuses this year.
I agree. Um, Transitioning to Utah, they picked up Mike Conley. The Jazz traded away Jay Crowder, Kyle Korver, Grayson Allen, the 23rd pick for the draft, and a protected future first round pick, which will could be top 6 protected for 2022. And so with this move now, I mean, Mike Conley is a phenomenal playmaker, really good scorer. You take a little pressure off of Mitchell now with having to be like the sole scorer and having to do everything offensively. And this suddenly becomes a really diverse offensive team. And you have a very strong-minded defensive team that can even get better. But what are your thoughts on the overall for Utah? Because like we were saying, the West is it's more open than it's ever been. And now Mitchell, he kind of has a counterpart that can, really take his game to the next level.
I think Mike Conley is an underrated player, but I think there's two reasons why I think he's an underrated player. Because one, he's injury prone. He's had so many injuries in his career that kind of took him back. He was injured last year for a stint there. And then the other reason is he just cannot get over that hump sometimes. When he's a good player, and I think he's a good player, but he's reaching that age now. He's 31. He has a bunch of injuries. Those are the two big things for me. And then you give up Jay Crowder, who's a good defender and a 3-point shooter. You give up Cal Korver. I know he's older, but he still can hit some big shots for Grayson Allen, whatever. And then you give up a pick for him, and that's not a bad trade, but I think it's too much for a guy that in his entire career since 2007 had multiple injuries. I think 3 or 4, to be honest with you. And then he's reaching that basketball age where he's old. He's basketball old. And we talked about LeBron being 35. We talked about Marc Gasol being, I think Marc Gasol is 34, 35. We talked about those guys having value in the trade. And we see what, one got traded to Toronto, the other got traded to Utah. But to go back to what you said about, well, then Utah just get Morant, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Morant. Yeah. John Morant.
So that kind of helped out that pick.
Because we were even talking about it like about a month ago. Like we felt as though with John Morant going to Memphis, he could learn from Mike Conley. But now it's just like they're going in full rebuild mode. Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. as kind of like the two pillars for that team.
He went to Memphis or he went to Utah?
John Morant.
Morant went to Utah, right? You said what?
He went to Memphis.
Oh, he went to Memphis. Okay. That's what they kind of mixed me up. Yeah, Memphis definitely won that trade. Because they figured they were going to get Morant anyways, which is a younger, probably have the same type of talent that Conley had when he first came in 2007. But I do think it does take away, if he's completely healthy, it does take away kind of the burden of being the number one guy, because we've both said Murray has the ability to be inconsistent. The entire Denver Nuggets team has the ability to be inconsistent at times, but they have a bend don't break type mentality. We saw that in the playoffs this year. So that kind of takes away.
They'll be good.
What was that?
Tobias Harris, they'll be even better.
Is Tobias going to Jazz?
No, I mean to the Nuggets. We're talking about. I mean, with the Nuggets, I mean that would be interesting. That would be an interesting addition.
Wait, I'm talking about the wrong team. Oh my gosh.
I'm confused with what teams we're talking about.
Because you said something about Murray.
Murray?
Yeah, you said something about Murray.
Murray, I brought up.
You know the craziest thing? I'm looking at Mike Conley's profile, and it definitely says Utah Jazz. But I thought you said something about Murray, and my mind kind of went to like, okay, he went
Morant.
to the Nuggets. Morant. He went to
Morant.
Memphis.
Yeah, went to Memphis.
Went to Memphis. Okay. Okay, we're on the same page here. That's my fault, ladies and gents. I do that.
Jamal Murray with the Nuggets.
You don't have to say it like that. Well, it's Jamal Murray with the Nuggets. Get it right, or you're fired. That's what it sounds like.
I was doing it for the listeners because I don't know why I brought up Tobias Harris, but I was thinking about the Nuggets and I thought you said Jamal Murray, so it just.
I did say Jamal Murray. I definitely said Jamal Murray. But Utah Jazz, I have no idea who's on Utah Jazz. Ricky Rubio, no, he's going to be a free agent. I don't know who's on the Jazz, to be honest with you. Wellington, help me out here. I don't know who's on the
Joe
Jazz.
Ingles? Rudy Gobert.
I like Gobert. Okay. Gobert, defensive guy. See, look. I don't even. Oh my gosh, the guy who should have won rookie of the year, but the sophomore won it. Ben Simmons won it. What's his name? I know you said something, but it's like a Donovan Mitchell. Well, this one segment here has got me flipped like a reciprocal.
It's so bad.
Like, it's so bad. It looks like I have.
This is going down as one of our worst full scope segments ever. Like instantly.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
We're talking about Memphis. We're talking about the Nuggets. We're talking about Tobias.
We're talking about everybody. We're talking about Tobias Harris. We're talking about just everything. Okay, Donovan. Oh, I like that. Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley. Okay, Gobert. Okay. Do they still have Derek Favors? Okay. They still gonna suck, but
the Jazz.
Yeah, definitely gonna suck. Because
my question is how because the biggest question right now is how far does Mike Conley elevate them? Somebody was like saying, okay, this puts them in finals contention. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it does upgrade them, but like how far does this at least get them to competing for a conference finals berth? Because they haven't been able to get really far in the postseason. Like they were able to get to the second round against Houston about a couple of years ago.
I would say there's 50-32 with Ricky Rubio and a Donovan Mitchell led team. Now, if Mike Conley is completely healthy, we've seen what his abilities can do for a team. That's only if he's healthy, and that's never been the case. Probably maybe two. He's always had some nagging injury. That's why I'm not saying it, if he's healthy, they can be a contender because they went 50-32 with the Donovan Mitchell led team, who was second year going into his third year now, who's still trying to continue to find his game, complete game. And when you add Mike Conley, who can do all three things, shoot, defend, and pass on a high level, then yes, you're a contender team. But if you get Mike Conley, who's going to have another knee injury, another ankle injury, another shoulder injury, whatever the case, the list goes on, then you're not going to be a contender. I mean, that's all I can say about that. To be honest, it just depends on if Mike Conley is completely healthy. Is he healthy?
Biggest X factor. Because he's my thing is this finally gives Mitchell room to operate solely, not trying to solely be the main force offensively. He
Right.
can get more breathing room, and I think like that's what makes this team like a potential top four seed in the West, um, or even a five seed. To me, that there's still like a few teams that are still better than them in the West, and that's kind of where,
I would agree.
you know what I mean? Because even though
Yeah.
even this move, it's just like you're still like I still feel as though there are like a few better teams out there, but it does give them a good upgrade. Um, Transitioning to the Rockets, there were reports earlier this week that Chris Paul wanted to trade, and later that same day, Daryl Morey he says, okay, that wasn't true at all. Um, Chris Paul's going to be here on here this team next year, and now they're in a position where, I mean, there were multiple reports about the dysfunction, James Harden and Paul going back at it. Um, you know, Paul trying to guide Harden more, and Harden not really wanting to take that advice. And I mean, when you have two high level players, things like this can happen. You know, when Harden goes on the offensive um, scoring spree this season to bring the Rockets back in a playoff contention, when Chris Paul comes back, it's the same thing. Like Harden's still doing what he's doing, and Paul is not able to kind of acclimate the way he was the first year when it was more balanced and both of them were kind of letting each other take turns. But with the Rockets and where they are currently, and reports of them going after Jimmy Butler and them trying to kind of add a third piece to this. Um, what are your thoughts on kind of the reported dysfunction and what moves should they make this year? I mean, this summer.
Oh, jeez. It's kind of. I'll just start with. It's kind of hard for them to move because they don't have that money in the money space because they've maxed out all their deals with Chris Paul, James Harden, Clint Capella, Eric Gordon, all their top the number five guys starting lineup. That's where all the money is. So they can't really go into maybe they resign. I think is what's his last name? She's but yeah, they don't have enough money to move. Say that again. I can't hear you. Not PJ. I think PJ is good for another 2 years.
Yeah.
But no, it's Gerald Green. There we go. They resign. I think that's the only guy they'll try to resign. But now that they're beefing or not gelling well, they can get something for Chris Paul. I don't think somebody will take that max contract that he has, but it's worth to try to shop him out there to see if teams are willing to get him, like the Lakers. If the Lakers go, if they can't get Kyrie, if they can't get Kawhi, maybe Chris Paul with LeBron James, who are really best friends, and with AD, perhaps that can work out in LA. If they can't get Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard, that might be an option. But the only way they're going to be able to move to add more players to the Houston Rockets team if they trade Chris Paul. But that's slim chance of none because of the big contract that he does have, and nobody wants that burden to have because a lot of people say Chris Paul is a terrible teammate. So, but yeah, two guys going at it. James Harden, just like you can't. I think I
Just be
saw one with
expected. I mean, because like when you have two really good players, like at some point, the only place we really haven't seen this happen is Golden State, because for the most part, we've never had a report about Steph and KD going back at it. Because they just, it's like basketball nirvana there. Like everybody just is willing to accept a lesser role, and with any other team, like eventually there's going to be a clash because of the natural ego and both just being so good at what they do.
I don't. You would say that it's like expected from those type of guys, but I thought Chris Paul was that. Chris Paul would be that guy. If anybody can be able to talk to James and say, James, this is we love you. Step back, dribble, dribble, step back, dribble, dribble. But can you add something else to your game?
Yeah.
But then I see the perspective from James Harden. Man, I've been doing this before you even got here, and now that you're here, we can't get over that hump. So what difference are you making? Like you can't even hold your guy. Why are you over here? Get out my face. Like certain stuff like that, it's going to happen. Not just with two big time players. That's with any player. To be honest with you, you're going to get fed up for the other guy. But I don't think it's expected because some guys can just play basketball. Like Kawhi Leonard, he'll just play basketball. It doesn't. I see his facial expression sometimes when things happen on the court. He's just like, "Man, it's basketball. Everybody gets beat. Everybody gets shot on. Everybody gets their block shot. Whatever. It's just basketball. It's play. You do your part. I do my part." But some
Kawhi's thinking.
players,
You never can know what he's thinking. If you just look at him, like, just don't even look at the score. Just look at him, like you can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah, you can't really read him because he's consistent in his body language. He's consistent. He's just consistent. Like you can't read him. Like it's
so
so
this
funny.
laugh.
His laugh, and then he almost passed out after they won. Like he was like, "Oh," like he had to catch his breath or something. But no, man. I mean, sometimes you're gonna have those players.
I'm actually celebrating.
Yeah, I think whoever was controlling him kind of like pressed too many buttons, and then he got like, "Oh wow," like that emotion just came out because I think he's definitely a robot.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Robot laughs like that. Yeah,
you heard
it's
it here
definitely
first.
confirmed. On full scope, Kawhi Leonard is a robot. He has a motherboard, so whatever.
But yeah, do you see like because they are aggressively pursuing Jimmy Butler? My question is with Jimmy Butler, like, where does he stay for the next 5 years? Because it just seems like he's constantly moving. Like, do you think he finds a permanent place or he stays in Philly? Like what do you see happening with him?
Well, you told me that he's going to stay with 76ers. Yeah, you said that.
I do.
He's not going anywhere.
I'm just saying the reports are conflicting.
I think he leaves. But I don't think he goes
Harris
to the Rockets, though.
Too.
Oh, he probably will. I don't think
That's
he
what
goes
I'm saying,
to the Rockets, though.
Next year it could look like the same Philly from the year before.
Which is funny. Which is so funny, man. But
I don't think it's like when you have guests over at your last year was like when Philly had guests over at their home. And this year,
man, y'all stay a while.
This year the home is back.
Right. That process is not. It's far from finished. But yeah, I don't think Jimmy goes to the Rockets because if James Harden can't get along with Chris Paul, what makes you think he gets along with Jimmy Butler?
That's going to be a personality clash.
Yeah, because Jimmy comes from a Chicago Bulls team who used to get at each other's throat every day.
Practice. Yeah.
Every single day. Talk to you. Forget what you just did right, man. I mean, yeah, right. What you just did wrong. Like, I don't think James can handle that type of talk.
Yeah.
So if you clash it with Chris Paul, 6 foot Mighty Mouse, what are you gonna do with Jimmy Butler? Jimmy, Jim Jam to Jim Jam. What you gonna do with Jimmy? Clash again? So yeah, I don't think he goes there. I think he has to. I understand playing with James Harden might be a pretty good deal, but you just have to think about your personality, what you're hearing from Chris Paul and James Harden in the media. That has to go take into account. Like, yo, I don't think my personality would fit in Houston, and it won't. It won't fit there. Go to
Uh,
Brooklyn.
yeah, I would say Brooklyn.
Go to Brooklyn. Go to Brooklyn. You like New York anyways. Either Brooklyn or the Knicks because they just got Mr. Barrett. I think it was a great move.
Approved.
Yeah, she said slightly improved.
Spike Lee approved.
Oh, Spike Lee improved. Yeah. I think, but yeah, Art he has not a long way to go, but he has some stuff he needs to polish his on his game, obviously. But I think that was a good move. That was a good fit for him.
Always throw the 4 year max at KD. Get him. Have have RJ already. Pick up a guy like Kimber or Jimmy, and the second year you just
I,
start
I
start
don't
start it off with KD.
I don't think that Kimber should be thrown out anymore. I think he's like solidified. He's
Okay, yeah,
not going
he's not going
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
say
he's not
Jimmy.
going anywhere. Yeah, you can definitely get Jimmy. Jimmy's up for grabs. Jimmy's trying to find a home.
Yeah, I feel as though if Jimmy did move, it would probably be Brooklyn. Um,
Yeah. So I don't think he would. I don't think his personality and his game would fit with the
oh,
Lakers.
I'm I don't know what you thought about it, but with that game 7 with Philly and Toronto, I mean, that could have gone so many different ways. Philly really could have ended up being in the finals, and they were out of all the teams that played against Toronto, they were the ones that pushed them the farthest. And it's just kind of like, does Jimmy have the mindset of, hey, I want to see if we can go farther, or is he just ready to kind of just have his own team? And I think that's going to be kind of the clash because that Philly team was a really good team. I mean, they were that close to kind of making a run.
True. They were a bounce away from going in overtime. So I mean, yeah, it's a possibility he might stay, but I just don't like
He
Joel
leaves.
Embiid. I don't like Embiid. I don't like a guy who can't adapt, you know. But that's why I'm not playing big time basketball here. I'm just old Savon Morris from Pensacola, Florida, that wishes he played on the big level.
I
Whatever.
mean, we honestly, like with the player we really care about who's moving is JJ Redick, right? Like that's really who we care about. I mean, if wherever JJ is going, like that's it's gonna thread the needle. I mean, just you heard it here
What?
first.
JJ, man. Oh God, JJ.
I had to bring it up so you could slander JJ again because whenever I bring up a Duke guy, it's just like just
No, not always. I
castaway.
love JJ at Duke, man. JJ was the man at Duke. It's just now he's at the tail end. He's about to exit the NBA here shortly.
Yeah,
He's at the tail end of his career. He's done all he can do.
have longer careers though. Shooters just they
Do
stick
have
around a
yeah,
little longer.
they do. I think he peaked when he was with Orlando. He peaked
Man,
at Orlando when
that's
they were on that little
2019.
big run. Yeah, on those runs, he peaked,
Shard
and now
Lewis,
he's just.
Peter Turkoglu.
Whoo! No, I like Pietrus. Pietrus. He
He's
wasn't. He
good.
was a good player. He was a good player. He couldn't check Kobe, but he was a good player.
When did he like leave the league?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I don't.
It's like some of these guys I just don't even know when they left.
Right. That's so funny, man. I don't remember when he retired. I don't remember when Lewis retired. No, Turkoglu. When did Turkoglu retire? I don't remember any of
We're
that.
doing a
It's just
full scope
like
investigation over the next couple of
right.
days. When did these guys retire? Like I
One of
don't I
these
don't know
guys.
when.
We need a podcast just for that. Like, okay, we're gonna find out when did these guys retire and how did they retire? Like,
Why did they
when did
not
we got to
announce it?
right? Like nobody. ESPN or
Nobody did a
NBA
farewell
on
tour like
TNT.
Dwayne Wade.
Oh my God. Or Kobe,
Yeah.
Paul Pierce. Oh God. We know how he went out. Oh, that's funny, man. That's so funny. I don't remember when he retired. Jeez, man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Hello, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Jameer Nelson is still playing. He's with the Pelicans, or no, he's not with the Pelicans. He's done. I think he's done. So I'm trying to think about that starting five with Orlando. Dwight Howard's still playing. JJ's still playing. Beatrice is gone. Turkoglu is gone. Who's the Anderson? I don't know what Anderson is either.
Ryan Anderson.
Yeah.
Courtney Lee is still in the league, right?
Yeah, Courtney Lee played. Well, he wasn't starting five, but he's
Okay.
he's.
I still don't forgive him. I still can't forgive him for that game too.
Oh, with the alley oop! Oh, that really teed me up. I was a big time Orlando Magic fan too. For those years Dwight was there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All you had to do was make the layup, Courtney.
Oh, that's it.
I thought nobody remembered that. Oh, they could have beat. That's how Kobe got his fifth ring right there. That was cheese.
That was his first without Shaq. And then 2010, they beat Boston for him to get his fifth.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, that is right.
That Boston team 2009 was really good.
Wait. So they went back to back?
Yep. 10.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, they did have a crazy lineup. Paul Gasol, his prime. Andrew Bynum came out of nowhere. Shannon Brown was just tenacious. They still had Derek Fisher shooting threes.
Jordan Farmar.
Oh, he was a hidden gem. Can't forget Luke Walton.
Wow. Haven't heard that guy. Haven't heard about that guy in a while.
Oh, it took my soul. Can't forget Luke Walton.
Oh, look. Cool hand,
Yeah,
Luke.
what? Oh, looky, Luke. You got a ring, though. You got 2 rings, actually. That's funny. We're off. Like, what's the
Where are we going? I mean,
we're everywhere.
But before we wrap it up, with like we were talking about with Kawhi, him being kind of the soul, like the center. Why have I said soul so much?
I don't know. So you're acting like me, right? You're acting like me.
So they went down to
together.
But him being like the at the center of the attention of free agency this year, and winning it all with Toronto, being the Finals MVP, back at the peak of his game in his prime at 27, and now it's 50-50. They're saying with Toronto and the Clippers, and now the Lakers have come in as a possibility with him being able to team up with AD and LeBron. But currently, as you see it with Toronto and the Clippers, like who do you think has more of the edge? Because it really feels as though Toronto can sell him on the familiarity. Like, okay, you've been here, you see how it is. We did load management. You were fresh for the postseason, only played 63 games, and then the Clippers can just sell him on. Okay, this is LA. We push a fully healthy Golden State team to 6 games. We're tenacious. We're a young, gritty team. We have a lot of young stars. We have a great coach, Doc Rivers. A great front office. What more could you want? Who do you think kind of has more to sell?
I think Toronto, just given the fact that they just won an NBA championship. You see the love you get from the fans, the city, the whole country of Toronto. You see, you have Drake at your disposal.
I think money in the grave.
Right, money in the grave. No, I think he's built some great friendships, and I think the text message they revealed that he sent to Kyle Lowry after he found out that DeMar Rosen left, I think that friendship was created right then and there, and I think it was genuine. I think he's really has met and created genuine friendships there. I think he has a good relationship with head coach. So I think Toronto has the
And it came out
biggest
Nick
ups.
Nurse and
Yeah,
him. It came out that Nick Nurse and him didn't even talk about free agency once. It's like Toronto, they went into it like we're not even thinking about that. We're just thinking about this year, and that's what they were able to
yeah,
accomplish.
and I think that's what he wanted to do too. Because I mean, that's just stating the obvious. I mean, we know you only have 1 year here, and you have the option to go to any other team that you want to. We just want to make sure you understand that you're going to be loved for this 1 year, and if you stay, you're going to be loved for all the years that you're here. And I think the country of Toronto has opened up to him and embraced him. His whole his laugh, he's a fun guy. Now he's bored, man. Just the entire moment, the moment since he left the Spurs, think they have more to offer him. Now, the Clippers do have LA, but I think the team is different. I don't think they have a Van Fleet. They have Lou Williams, but we saw Lou couldn't do it by himself. Patrick Beverly is, I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. That's your
I
dog,
though
your chihuahua nipping at your heels. We'll say that again.
with Kawhi though, I mean that's a really good team. But like
If
that's a team
Patrick
that can
Beverly stays,
exactly yeah.
I mean, other than that, who do they have? I mean, Harold played some great basketball in that series against the Warriors. That was some great
Thinking, what
basketball.
if Kawhi's thinking that wherever I go, I can take this team all the way? I mean, it's just like he's 27. He's at the prime of his career. I mean, he's playing his best. Like, what if his mentality is just wherever I go, I can immediately accelerate this team's potential? And I think with the Clippers, it's right there for him. But like you're saying with Toronto, it's just gonna. It's we've never seen a guy leave after he wins a Finals and a Finals MVP.
Right.
And if there's one guy who can change that narrative, it would be Kawhi.
Yeah, I definitely think so, but it's going to be hard for him to leave. Now, now do you think I want him to go to the Lakers? I don't even want him to go to the Clippers because I don't think the Clippers have enough for him to convince him. Like, okay, I'll go there. You know what I'm saying? They have, Zubiak is not a bad center. Harold played great basketball. Lou Williams is going to be Lou. He's an underrated player, sixth man, ninth man, first man, third man, doesn't matter where he's at. He's going to put up points for you. And then Patrick Beverly, he's on the thin line of fence. Or does he resign? Do they let him go? Does he go to the Lakers? There's some reports say he's liking the Lakers. So it's up in there, but it's going to be extremely hard. Yeah, what's that?
Or do you say it's like in the Lakers now?
Patrick Beverly.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard too.
Because I think he likes LeBron. To be honest, I think he fits in that. Oof, that'd be a go great in that. Oh, geez, not starting at point guard, but just have him on the floor with LeBron in AD or any other player they get. Like sign him to a 1-2 year deal. See how that goes.
Actually, build around LeBron and AD. You don't have to. You don't have to make another flashy move. Well,
a lot of now I'm seeing what you're saying. Like, why go sign another max player where you can spread that money out equally and get shooters, get defensive players, and just do it that way. But if you're the Lakers,
last summer, because my question is now, have they learned from what they got? I mean, two summers in a row they get just blockbuster deals. But what do they do after it? That's the biggest question. Have they learned from last year when they didn't fill out the roster successfully?
Evidently they haven't. They haven't. They're trying to go after Kawhi. They're probably go after Kyrie.
But isn't that the Laker narrative though? We're just going to get stars and we can go from there.
Yeah, go big or go home. I mean, the Lakers have been that since Wilt Chamberlain. He didn't stay long. Since Jerry West. Since Kareem, since Magic, since just all these guys.
Ton of guys.
Yeah, just a ton of guys.
The Laker history is just so rich.
Go big or go home. Go big or go home. And they're gonna go big. They don't want to go home. They were home. They haven't made the playoffs in how many years? So but I do agree with you about look, we got AD. Because you look at the the Lakers team when they had Kobe and Shaq, they had a
That was
bunch
it.
of role players. Derek Fisher, Rick Fox, Horace Grant, Robert Ory, who's else? Who's Shaw. I think his first name wasn't Bobby, but his last name was
Brian.
Shaw. Yes, Brian Shaw. They had a bunch of Van Exel. They had a bunch of role players that did their jobs, and everybody knew Shaq was getting the ball, and Kobe was next after that. Everybody bought into it. Shaq's the
Set
diva,
in stone.
set in stone, and they had some great years. Should have did a three-peat, but here comes. No, did they do a three-peat? I should know
Yeah,
this
they did.
because they did. It was supposed to be a four-peat because they won. Boom, 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 and then no, actually no, they lost. They lost to the Spurs one time. They lost to the Kings, and they lost to Pistons. They got put out a couple times before they get to the NBA Finals. And then
The
Shaq
Pistons
got
are
traded.
delicious. Ugh,
Yeah,
man,
I just wish
that was
they
a
stayed
disaster.
together. I just wish they stayed together. But he wanted to. He didn't want to pay Shaq. Shaq was older. He's like, I'll just pay Kobe. But we all know how that panned out. They won two with Kobe after Shaq left. But Kawhi is going. It's going to be hard to pry him from Toronto's loving carrying hands. Eh? Welcome to Toronto, eh? Oh,
So do you feel as though even with what the Clippers um, thought they had in terms of the luring destination, could if Kawhi stays in Toronto, I feel like more teams um, just maybe like more aggressive in going after big time stars and on like that 1 year type of situation, like just how OKC did with Paul George. Because if Kawhi stays again, it's going to be the narrative of like the big city compared to the small market. I mean, it's gonna even be like magnified because it's like two straight times teams that kind of weren't supposed to keep the star actually did over the big city and kind of the more alluring factors.
well, in that you have to see what type of place these guys are in their career. With Kawhi, he's still a young guy. He doesn't care about the big city. I know he says he wanted to play with the Clippers, but then you get this feel of this is where I can focus on basketball because he's in LA. The focus is going to be outside too. People are going to be pulling and tugging them. With Toronto, you can just play basketball, and that's what you did. You won a championship in your first year there. That's a big accomplishment. Now you look at Paul George. Everybody thought Paul was going to go to the Lakers, play with LeBron James, and then he realized, I've chased the money. I've had the money. I want to play with this. I built this kind of chemistry with this guy. I can focus because there's nothing really in OKC but twisters and tornadoes and
Second round and no second round appearances.
oh wow, throwing shots on Wilton. That wasn't even a
Damn,
shot.
they haven't
That
made it
was
out of the
just
second.
a
They haven't made it out of the first round in either year.
that's a that's a bazooka to the face, Wilton. But yeah, look at what space and place they're in their career. And Kawhi, I don't think Kawhi is chasing the big city just yet. I mean, he has a long lasting career
So out of
left.
the
He's only 27.
yeah, and out of the three, I mean, Raptors, Clippers, Lakers, like what would you rank the probability of him going? Like, I mean, in terms of like the order.
Definitely Toronto. I say the Lakers, then Clippers. It's kind of hard to say no to Anthony Davis. It's kind of hard to say no to LeBron James. That's hard. It's really, really hard because if I was a player and if I was Kawhi, if I was in Kawhi's shoes, and I know I just won a championship with Toronto, and I didn't expect to win a championship with Toronto because nobody expected Toronto to win. We just thought they would be a contender. But if I'm in his shoes and I'm looking like, how's LeBron and AD over there? I know I got Van Fleet, Siakam, Serge might not be the same. Van Fleet will give you buckets. Siakam is inconsistent, but he'll give you buckets when you need them. That's it. That's literally it.
Like you're just
Jeff,
talking, you're just telling yourself all the reasons, everything that's wrong, just so you can play with LeBron and AD. Because if you want to play with LeBron and
exactly,
AD, you just want to play with LeBron and AD.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that would be my train of thought. Like I'm looking for like the next 2 to 3 years. If I'm looking in his shoes and I'm in his zone, I'm looking like okay, the only person I can really depend on is Van Fleet. Kyle Lowry was he didn't score a bucket to what this like fourth fifth game in the first series. Like Cal showed me okay when he has to he'll get some buckets, but you have to wait a while. Okay, I'm not gonna wait on
Scored
that.
the first 11 points in Game 6. I mean,
Yeah, he had to make up for losing game five that he could have win. He could have won. You know what I'm saying? You better come out and make the first 12 points, 11 points. Because we should not be
we shouldn't even still be playing. We should be celebrating in Toronto.
right, right. We should not be on this jet going to California. We should have confetti in our mouth, in our jerseys, in Toronto. You know, me and my friends were making jokes that Drake was going to have a concert right there. He had a microphone in his back pocket.
Never mind. All right. Good
What
game,
happened?
guys.
Yeah, he had a microphone in his back pocket. He's going to pull it out. I was like, started from the bottom over here. Like, we were just messing around about that. Like, that's where it should have ended at. That's where they should have celebrated at. But, I mean, you have to score the first 11 points because this series should have been over. And if Klay Thompson to get injured, because he was on the verge of having 60.
A signature Game 6 play performance. I
Yeah,
mean, Klay looked phenomenal.
he did.
Um, I mean, and it's interesting before we wrap it up. The last thing, how do you see the Warriors kind of future next year? Because I mean, the Clay's not going to be there, KD's not going to be there. This is really going to be
Yeah.
um, Steph's team totally, and Draymond's still there. Cousins will probably leave.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to need more shooters. I feel like a guy like Malcolm Brogdon would be a really good addition. Um,
He's restricted.
yeah, he's a restricted free agent, but there's for the first time in a while, I mean, they're kind of strapped in terms of like their options, and um, now they're not they're not the top favorite, and it's going to be kind of a year of uncertainty. Even though I think they'll still be like in the postseason, but it's going to be kind of more of a year of uncertainty with the injuries.
It's it's going to be interesting. But I think they'll depend on more of the younger guys like McKinney. You still have Looney. He'll be 100% healthy. Had a shoulder injury in that series. You still have the old guys too. Like you have to depend on younger guys. I think Quinn Cook, McKinney, Jordan Bell, and even I think that's it off the top of my head. I think those guys need more chemistry with the starting guys because you saw in the later in the series, well, that game especially how inexperienced they were and the type of rhythm they didn't have with Draymond or Steph or any of those guys starting five guys. So I look for them to be more getting more PT and getting that rhythm because they have the players, they have the numbers still. Those guys can make buckets, but you still have Draymond Green, you still have Andre Iguodala, you still have Steph Curry, you still have Sean Livingston, you still have the guys who already won championships with you. They still have the experience, they still have the depth. They don't need to go get anybody else. They need to worry about trying to sign Klay because he has a max deal even when he's injured. Because they can tell that he's a difference maker. He can take over games at any time if they want him to. Then you try to see if you can get KD back. And I think they can get KD back because of the injury. He's out for a whole entire season. That gives you room and opportunities to get in his ear like, look, we still have unfinished business. Come back. You don't have to leave. We still have unfinished business to do. We got taken down. When you come back, we'll still be strong. So they have the opportunity to get both of those guys. They don't need anybody else. They have the depth. Bogut might be there. You groom Looney to be the starting guy. I'm pretty sure he's going to be the starting guy again. DeMarcus Cousins, you don't want him. Out of that, you still have a good lineup. Still have a bunch of young players that can step up. And the guy who needs to step up the most is Quinn Cook.
Any shot, but he just kind of has become a more efficient shooter.
Yeah. I mean, he has shown that he can make big shots, though.
Yeah.
Especially in the regular season, we've seen that. But I think the lack of chemistry they have with the starting five kind of showed, especially McKinney, he looked out of place.
Yeah. I would definitely agree. Well, that wraps it up for tonight. I'm your host, Windsor Burns, with my counterpart, Savon Morris. This has been Full Scope. See you later.